Hey there everyone, Mazrock here, and today I want to talk about why you should or shouldn't be playing Vengeance Demon Hunter in 10.1. Before we do get into it though, please do like, comment, and subscribe. It goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. Thank you to my patrons for making videos like this happen as well. If you're looking for any early access stuff, I put early access Tank Club written guides up on Patreon with all of my written work as it happens. Early access videos, all of that are patron rewards that you can get down below. There's a Discord link as well if you want to join a wonderful community full of great people, and of course if you will come watch me stream, if that's the thing you like to do, there is a Twitch link down below for just that. Alright, let's get right into it. Why you shouldn't or shouldn't be playing Demon Hunter in 10.1. Now, Vengeance going into 10.1 is in kind of a weird spot, and I don't mean this in a good or a bad way, but they're pretty much kind of average, right? They do good self-healing, but they're not the best. They have good utility, but it's not the best. In certain scenarios, sometimes their utility is absolutely bonkers, but it all really depends on a pull-by-pull, dungeon-by-dungeon environment. And really, that's kind of how it works. One of the things that Vengeance really does have going for it, though, especially if you've played some other tank specs, is there is pretty much no button bloat, which is very nice. The rotation is kind of simplistic, where, you know, you break shards, you use those shards to heal, the soul shards to heal, and you kind of go from there. You're never going to be filling all of those the action bars like you do with other tank specs, but what happens with Vengeance is you really need to be on top of your game to be able to maximize your rotation and use it properly, right? You don't have a lot of buttons, but knowing when to use those abilities is very important. Sometimes you need to hold Fell Devastation, which does suck, but you need that extra defensive because Fiery Brand is a great defensive against one target. It's not a great defensive versus a whole whack of targets. But the tier set is looking to change that a little bit. So in 10.1, we've been more focused on the left side of the tree, which is a lot more defensive options, full uptime on Demon Spikes, getting your Last Resort, getting Soul Crush with the extra vulnerabilities and all of that, and the extra frailty stacks and all of that. But with the tier set, which is something that's going to be plannable around, which is every 20 soul fragments spent will apply Fiery Brand to your target. Now we need to note here that this does interact with the entire right side of the tree that gives you the Revel in Pain, which gives you the big absorb. You can as well, it's spreadable through the Burning Alive talent, and all of the other talents that interact with Fiery Brand interact with this tier set as well. So I think this is Blizzard's way of kind of making Vengeance Demon Hunters try and go a little bit more to the right side of the tree to try and get some of these talents, which is going to create an interesting playstyle because, unfortunately, it's not that we don't want to go to the right side of the tree, it's that it's very difficult to do so and remain very tanky. There is a Fiery Brand build that I play with from time to time, but it's a very glass cannon. You can do an insane amount of damage, but outside of your Fiery Brand windows and your Demon Spike windows, you kind of topple over because you need to put in 5 points into Demon Spikes to get full uptime on them, which really is shitty, admittedly. I really hate that. I've been saying for a while, and I have a why I think Vengeance Demon Hunter needs a rework video. I'll put that in the description box down below. But the spec tree is just too wide. There's too many columns. You have to go to the far left to get Spirit Bomb. It's not an option. You absolutely have to do that because you have almost no fully uncapped AoE abilities. You have Immolation Ore and Bomb. That's really all you got. So you're already forced towards that end anyway, but if they just shrunk the tree, like took the 2 columns off on each far side and brought them in and reduced some of the points needed for Demon Spikes uptime, you would actually be in a much better position and be able to kind of work around the tree a lot better, but that's kind of my opinion on it. I know there's some people that are going to differ on that, but one of the things that Vengeance is also really good at, along with that tier set, is just doing a lot of damage, and Fiery Brand deals a lot of damage, especially when it spreads. When I was testing this on dummies, Just the tier set alone, I had the Fiery Brand build that I have put in. I never once hit Fiery Brand, and Fiery Brand did about 10% of my total damage just from its spreading. And the nice part with this is you can actually plan around those 20 soul fragments being spent to be able to spread that Fiery Brand, to know that when you can kind of let things fall off a bit or go on or move on. But this is going to really open up a few play styles for Vengeance that were kind of unlimited, kind of limited to us in Season 1. So in Season 2, I think this tier set is very underrated. It's kind of difficult to kind of say and go around, but I think this is very, very underrated, and I think Vengeance is going to be in a much better spot than people are going to be giving it credit for. Do I still think it needs a little bit of help? Yes. Do I think that they are going to be improved by this tier set? Absolutely. It's just kind of how it works. How they deal with magic damage is really, really good. Their self-sustain is incredibly good as well. And you're going to get more healing from the Consume a Soul tier set. That's all-inclusive in this. So, really, and once you're geared, you are incredibly tanky. There's situations where I was worried going into plus 20 keys where I'm like, okay, this boss crushes me on my warrior or whatever, and I'm like, I really have to play around, and like I finish and I'm like, that was easy. Okay, let's go. And it just gives you that boost of confidence because of how Vengeance Demon Hunter deals with damage through extra parrying, through extra magic damage mitigation, and all of that fun stuff. There's a lot that goes onto it. And then, like I said earlier about the utility, Sigil of Silence is so nice. Be able to silence everything in a circle of your choosing is incredibly strong when it's strong, and there are definitely a lot of caster mobs upcoming in the next season, right? Brackenhide Hollow, Neltheris has a lot of casters, so just being able to silence all of that is going to be a huge boon to you and your party. You now have an AoE stun, in prison skips, in prison stops. You do have a lot at your disposal on how you want to kind of operate things and really work Vengeance Demon Hunter to its limits, which is really, really good to see. It is a fun tank to play. You're kind of always on the edge of like taking damage and healing it back up, using your defenses properly, but it is in a really, really good spot, admittedly. Now, I can kind of talk along these sort of things back and forth nonstop, but all in all, if you like the playstyle of Vengeance Demon Hunter and that class fantasy fits you, you are going to be rewarded with that in 10.1 with just more of how it operates and being able to zoom around, hop around. It's the highest mobility tank with your Infernal Hops and, of course, your Glide. There's just a lot of things that Vengeance Demon Hunter can do that not a lot of tanks can do, but as well, they have the additive of the Purge, right? They're the only tank that has a Purge, so when I'm running something like Knockout Offensive, where the Tempest boss needs a Purge every 15 seconds, it's just nice to be able to not have to rely on a DPS to be able to bring that, and you can just do it yourself, and you're like, oh man, this feels so much better that, you know, you lose a little bit of that anxiety by not having to rely on another on another player to be able to do something. But Vengeance Demon Hunter is in a really, really good spot. I think their tier set is very underrated. I've had this conversation on stream as well, and there definitely are some others that agree with me there. But there's others that are pretty down bad about it as well. I think it has a lot of potential, and I think once people kind of figure it out and how to use it properly in keys, I think it's going to be an absolute monster of a tier set, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So follow me on stream if you guys want to watch me do Vengeance Demon Hunter keys. We're going to be figuring out new builds because this is going to change up the current build. I've been tinkering already, so there's definitely some good stuff to be coming there. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Thank you to my patrons for making videos like this happen. Happy tanking.